Right now, a part of you that has been silent for years is beginning to stir. You might not fully understand why you clicked on this video, but something inside you recognized these words. Like they were meant for you. That feeling isn't random. It's your inner child, the version of you that felt deeply, loved fully, and hurt quietly, reaching out because it's finally ready to be heard. Most people don't realize this, but healing doesn't start with changing your habits. It starts with remembering the parts of yourself you tried to forget. And today, we walk toward them together. Before you can heal your inner child, you first have to notice when it's speaking. And it speaks more often than you think. That sudden emotional reaction you had the other day, the moment you felt rejected over something small, the way certain words hit you harder than they should, that isn't the adult you. That's the younger you, the one who never got the comfort, validation, or safety they needed, trying to make sense of the world with the only tools they had back then. Most people think they've outgrown childhood pain simply because they're older. But age doesn't heal wounds. Silence doesn't erase memories. And pretending you're fine doesn't fix the places inside you that still ache. Your inner child lives in the moments you feel sensitive, insecure, or not enough. It lives in the way you people please because you're scared of disappointing someone. It lives in the way you freeze when someone raises their voice, or in the guilt you feel when you put yourself first. These aren't flaws, they're echoes. Echoes of a younger version of you who learned those behaviors as survival. And here's the part most people never realize. Your inner child doesn't want perfection or strength. It wants safety. It wants warmth. It wants to know it's allowed to exist without being shamed or abandoned. Every time you push yourself too hard, dismiss your feelings, or tell yourself to just get over it, you're repeating the same neglect that hurt you the first time. Recognizing your inner child means slowing down long enough to hear that small voice behind your reactions. The one that says, "I'm scared." The one that says, "Please don't leave me." The one that says, "I don't know what to do." And once you notice it, something powerful happens. You begin separating the pain you carry from the person you are. You start seeing that many of your struggles aren't signs of weakness, but signs of wounds. And wounds can heal. This recognition is not about blaming your past. It's about finally understanding your present. Because once you know where the pain comes from, you no longer have to keep reliving it. You can choose differently. You can respond differently. And you can finally begin offering yourself the kindness you always needed. Your inner child doesn't always cry loudly. Sometimes it speaks through quiet patterns. Patterns you've gotten so used to that you don't even realize they're signals. But once you start noticing them, everything begins to make sense. Maybe you've wondered why you shrink around certain people, why you feel undeserving of kindness, or why compliments make you uncomfortable. That's your younger self remembering a time when love felt inconsistent or earned, not freely given. Maybe you've noticed how you panic when someone pulls away, or how you chase validation even when you don't truly want the person giving it. That's the child in you who learned that connection was fragile, and that being good enough was the only way to keep peace. Sometimes your inner child speaks through anger, not sadness, quick irritation, being defensive over small things, feeling misunderstood even when no one is attacking you. These reactions often come from a childhood where you weren't heard, where expressing yourself was treated as misbehavior, or where emotions were dismissed instead of supported. And then there's the opposite, shutting down completely, numbing out, overthinking, avoiding conflict. These aren't signs that you're emotionally weak. They're self-protection strategies you learned before you even had the vocabulary to describe them. When a child feels overwhelmed, they hide. As an adult, you just learned how to hide in more subtle ways. Your inner child also speaks through your fears. Fear of abandonment, fear of failure, fear of being too much, fear of not being enough. These fears didn't magically appear in adulthood. They were shaped by moments where you felt unprotected or unseen. When you were young, these fears helped you survive. Today, they hold you back without meaning to. But the clearest sign of all is this: whenever your reaction is bigger than the situation, it's rarely about the situation. It's about an old wound being touched in a new moment. And this is where compassion begins. Once you can say, "This feeling is coming from a younger part of me," You stop blaming yourself for your reactions. You stop shaming yourself for being too emotional or too sensitive. You realize you're not broken. You're carrying pain that was never tended to. Your inner child isn't trying to ruin your life. It's trying to get your attention. It's saying, "Please see me." And healing begins the moment you finally do. Now that you've recognized how your inner child calls out, the next step is learning how to speak to them. And this part isn't complicated. It's gentle, simple, and deeply human. Healing doesn't happen through force. It happens through understanding. Start by slowing down during emotional moments. When something triggers you, instead of reacting instantly, pause and imagine a younger version of yourself standing in front of you. The version who first learned this fear, this insecurity, this loneliness. Picture their face, their small hands, the way they looked when they were trying their best to be strong. That is the part of you feeling the emotion right now. Ask them softly, "What are you scared of?" You'll be surprised how quickly the answers come. "I don't want to be left. I don't want to disappoint anyone. I don't want to be yelled at again. I don't want to lose everything." These aren't adult fears. They're echoes from a childhood where you didn't have the tools to understand the world around you. The second step is reassurance. Your inner child has never heard certain sentences before. Sentences like, "You're safe now. I'm not leaving. You don't have to earn love. You're allowed to rest. I'm here with you." When you say these words to your younger self, either in your mind, out loud, or in a journal, you begin rewriting the emotional reflexes that have controlled you for years. Third, offer comfort the way you wish someone had comforted you as a kid. Maybe that means placing your hand over your heart. Maybe it's taking deep, slow breaths. Maybe it's writing a letter to your inner child telling them they deserved better. Healing isn't always dramatic. Sometimes it's sitting quietly in your room and saying, "You didn't deserve what happened, and I'm sorry no one protected you." And finally, show your inner child safety through action. Set the boundaries they never had the power to set. Choose rest when they were forced to be strong. Walk away from people who remind them of old wounds. Celebrate small wins they were never praised for. Inner child healing is not pretending the past didn't hurt. It's proving to the child you once were that the future can be different, and that they're no longer alone in it. This stage of inner child healing is where everything begins to shift, because now you're not just comforting the younger version of yourself. You're learning to become the parent, protector, and guide you always needed. This is the part of the journey where real transformation starts to show up in your daily life. Reparenting means giving yourself the things you were denied as a child: structure, compassion, permission to feel, permission to rest, and permission to grow without fear. It's not about blaming the adults who failed you. It's about understanding that the responsibility to care for your emotional world now belongs to you, not your past. So start with consistency, something many of us never received. Choose one small habit that supports your well-being. Drinking water when you wake up, taking a morning walk, journaling for 5 minutes, or going to bed on time. Small habits may look insignificant, but to your inner child they say, "I'm showing up for us." Then practice emotional honesty. If you feel sad, name it. If you feel anxious, acknowledge it. If you feel overwhelmed, don't shame yourself for it. Emotional honesty creates the safety your younger self never had, the safety to feel without being punished or ignored. Every time you let yourself feel something instead of pushing it away, you prove to your inner child that their emotions aren't too much. Next, set boundaries the way a loving parent would. Think of it like this: if you were protecting a small child, would you let others disrespect them? Overwork them? Manipulate them? Of course not. So don't let anyone do it to you. When you say no to someone who drains you, that's reparenting. When you walk away from chaos, that's reparenting. When you choose peace over proving a point, that's reparenting. Also remember to give yourself what every child needs: play, joy, softness, moments of lightness. You're not too old for it. Your inner child has waited years for permission to feel joy without guilt, fun without punishment, and excitement without fear. And finally, speak to yourself with the kindness you needed growing up. Say things like, "I'm proud of you. You're doing your best. You don't have to be perfect to deserve love." You are safe with me. Reparenting is not about erasing the past. It's about creating a present where you finally feel protected, supported, and loved from the inside out. And now, take a breath. Not the shallow kind you take when you're rushing through your day, a real one. A breath that reaches the deepest parts of you, including the part you met again today. Your inner child isn't gone. They were never lost. They were just waiting for you to slow down long enough to hear them, to see them, to hold the space they've needed for years. As you step back into your life after this video, move gently. You are carrying someone precious with you now. The younger you who only ever wanted safety, attention, and love. Speak to them often. Reassure them when old fears rise. Celebrate them when small wins come. And most importantly, give them the love that nobody knew how to give back then. This is how you rewrite your future, by healing the past that still breathes inside you. Thank you for walking through this with me. If your heart feels a little lighter, a little softer, that's not an accident. That's alignment. That's healing. That's you returning to yourself. Until next time, be gentle with the child within you. They've waited long enough.